One interesting thing about looking back into the past is to find out what our forefathers did for their descendants. Throughout over 7,000 years of mankind's history, there have apparently been certain mistakes that have been made time and time again. And one thing that even written records in hundreds or thousands of languages have not helped us to really understand is war. I just picked up a book that had laid hidden for a long time at the bottom of my bookshelf. The book was Eric Lomax's autobiography. At 19, this young British soldier was detained as a prisoner of war by the Japanese during World War II. Eric went through a lot of torture as a laborer amongst those forced to build one of the world's most widely known railway bridges, the bridge over the River Kwai. I've got a conclusion. This trip of mine is to retrace the path taken by Eric Lomax and other prisoners of war through the Death Railway without knowing where it is leading to. Even just the thought of it excites me. You see, my traveling sense tells me that when you have an idea and it gives you a certain rush, that must be the right idea. But if you only want to know what the Bridge of River Kwai is, it's probably because you've just seen the movie called Bridge over the River Kwai, or you've read a book somewhere in a bookstore, or you've read it up on Wikipedia, which is so mundane to me and boring. Well, this is my ride. Now, the most popular transportation to Kanchanaburi is by train. The Thai Railway has been using electric diesel trains since 1964, and it's still used today. Now, for the more impatient travelers, they tend to use other means of transportation like the car, boat. Nah, not so much the boat, the car, but you know what? Nothing beats a good train ride. Now, the reason why I said that nothing beats a good train ride is because you can really sit and enjoy the ambience of the journey, really soak in the picturesque scenery, enjoy the landscapes, and who knows, you might even make new friends.ขอบคุณครับ2 เม็ดเลยเหรอ
Well, you know, this kind of hospitality, you can't expect it in Thailand. People are usually friendly, they're nice, and they'll just give you sweets randomly.
Aboard the train to Kanchanaburi are an especially large number of foreign tourists. I think it is the reputation of the famous bridge over the River Kwai that has attracted so many of them. I am trying to imagine what this railway was like in the past. Young Japanese soldiers must have traveled along this railway line on their way from Bangkok to Kanchanaburi, probably without any idea what the war had in store for them. The way food is sold on board a train is also a charming sight. Male and female vendors carry trays of food in their arms, jump onto the half-halting, half-moving train. The prices may be a little too high, but then again, the risk of falling over as they jump onto a moving train is part of the cost.
What do you have? เอาอันนี้ผมแล้วกันใส่30ใช่ไหมมีเหรียญ10ป่ะมีเหรอเราซื้ออุดหนุนไปในตัวเลยเนาะขอบคุณมากครับขอบคุณมากครับ I just have to give you a quick warning about food, okay? Because on the trains there will be vendors who come around with food if you're hungry, but you have to be selective because you can't guarantee the hygiene of the food. Now, if you see something unfamiliar, you do best to avoid it. As for me, I don't have a problem. I grew up here, so nothing phases me. All right, so make sure you don't overeat so that you need to use the restroom. You see, the waste containment system is not so efficient. If there's any waste, it gets flushed directly into the railway tracks. It's a little horrifying. So if you have a lot of free time in your hands, you want to feel the wind in your face, you want to hear the wheels grinding against the railway tracks, the train is your best friend.
The charming aspect of a train trip is that we have to adjust ourselves to changing and challenging environments, like a journey into a totally unfamiliar world. My journey was inspired by the small, long-forgotten book, The Railway Man, which described the atrocity that World War II brought to Kanchanaburi province. I am now traveling by train to discover what the renowned Death Railway will introduce me to. Like Eric Lomax, I am traveling along this route for first-hand experience and more vivid memory. After over 5 hours on the train, my face has become parched by the wind. Finally, I can see the station sign, Kanchanaburi, through my camera's viewfinder. This station is like the first checkpoint before I start this historic journey. As the train slows down to approach River Quay Station, you can see a lot of pickup taxis waiting to serve you. Regardless of where you're from, these vendors and pickup taxi drivers will try their best to communicate with you. And some speak good English.
ครับเราไปที่สะพานแม่น้ำแควใช่ไหมฮะรถคันนี้เลยป่ะครับเชิญครับพี่เชิญครับ So one of the things you have to make do with when you're traveling around Thailand, you have to understand that as a tourist, sometimes you'll be charged double, or the fares they have to pay will be a little higher. It is what it is. This actually is true in a lot of Southeast Asian countries. Now, it's not everywhere that you have to pay double or a little extra. It's just in public places like museums or, you know, public transportation like this vehicle over here. So just got to make do with. It is what it is. ไปเลยครับ
Kanchanaburi has a somewhat unpredictable climate. On some days, it may be hot enough to make you faint. On others, it may rain heavily. Besides, flash floods happen quite frequently here.
How much? 100 อ่ะขอบคุณมากครับโชคดีครับ So on a hot day such as today, I'd recommend you wear light clothing or clothes that protect you from the sun. Kanchanaburi is a mountainous region, so it tends to trap heat. So make sure you're loaded with water like I am. But I'm out, so I'm gonna get some more. As to avoid from getting dehydrated, okay? Also, one more thing. You gotta make sure you gotta watch out for weather changes as well. Otherwise, if you pass out, who's gonna help you out here? Actually, some people might, but we never know.
Eric Lomax's The Railway Man again on this bridge, amidst the sound of music from wandering musicians and the cacophony of the nearby crowds. Prisoners of war were forced to build this bridge. A total of 61,700 soldiers from Britain, America, Australia, Holland, and New Zealand, in addition to countless other laborers from China, Java, Malaysia, Thailand, Myanmar, and India. Japan's purpose was to use the strategic railway line to deploy her troops, artillery, and supplies in Myanmar. The difficulty of constructing this railway line resulted in deaths of a large number of prisoners of war. Some died of malaria and shortage of food and medicine, whilst others perished after being forced to work days and nights without rest to complete the line. I advise you not to hurry to take photographs like most other tourists do. I would like you to slowly walk along the railway, sleeper by sleeper, until you reach the other side of the river. This way, you could envision the torture and agony suffered by the laborers and prisoners of war who built this bridge.
As you're all pretty much aware that wars, they turn human beings into monsters, whether it being for war strategy's sake, the sake of the flourishing future of a nation, and it happens because people take commands from leaders. And if you want to get closer to the historical ambience, just a few hundred meters away from the bridge, there is a privatized museum where they've collected a whole bunch of hard-to-find antiquities from the Second World War by a former local jeweler. Go figure.
When the war ended, Japan, severely traumatized, withdrew its troops out of Thailand, leaving behind a lot of its artillery and machinery, including carriages that had carried laborers and prisoners of war, jeeps that Japanese soldiers had driven into town for supplies, dental chairs, and a wide range of weapons.
Now these weapons you see in front of you, they were scattered all over Kanchanaburi about 70 years ago. These weapons caused a lot of fear in the locals. Why? Well, let's see. How would you feel if a bunch of enemy soldiers strolled into your house with these weapons on their backs? Now, during the war, the POWs, they were the main workforce for manual labor, and a lot of them lost their lives. And the Japanese soldiers, what they did was they buried them in one place until that place became a cemetery. And we're going to go there right now. But it's not quite what you would expect. The Kanchanaburi folks, they call this place the English graveyard, okay? It covers about 6.71 acres, and it's a massive graveyard full of prisoners of war who died during the construction of the railway. There are 6,982 bodies buried right here.
I can see many foreigners walking past seemingly endless rows of graves, reading the inscription on each headstone in a calm, respectful manner. Parents and children are also visiting here. They may be telling their children about the tragedy that war brought to these lifeless bodies. After all, everybody dreams of returning to his homeland.
Hi, good morning.
Hey, David.
How are you? Mick. I'm the manager here. Nice to meet you too, yeah.
Awesome.
Generous looking man I met a moment ago is Mr. Mick Newbat, manager of CWGC, Commonwealth War Graves Commission in Thailand. He has been living here for quite long.
Okay, so I guess my first question is, what is this cemetery really about?
The cemetery here is the last resting places of Allied prisoners of war that worked on the infamous Thai-Burma Railway that ran from Bangkok to Rangoon in what is now Myanmar, Burma.
Wow. So I never knew that. I mean, once you cross over the bridge, that's it? That's Myanmar? Or?
No, it's a couple of hundred kilometers, the actual border. So the actual railway ran all the way from Bangkok, 416 kilometers.
Wow, that's a hell of a distance.
And the casualties, the Allied casualties, was in excess of 12,000 that died whilst the construction of the bridge from 1942 to 1943.
All right, so my following question is, what nationalities are actually buried here?
Here at Don Lak and the other cemetery at Chong Kai, you've predominantly got Commonwealth soldiers, which is made up of British, Australian, but between the two sites around 2,000 Dutch nationals as well. There is the odd Canadian and New Zealand thrown in.
British?
A lot of British here, yeah.
But no Americans?
No Americans held here. There was approximately around 400 casualties on the construction of the railway.
Right.
But at the end of the war, the American Army doctrine was they took some of their casualties back to the United States, and they made the decision to repatriate them to America.
Right.
Whereas British military doctrine at the time was they would build cemeteries where they fell.
Wow.
Hence, you've got the cemetery here today.
Okay, leave no man behind, as they say, right? Leave no man behind.
Yeah. What I'd like to do is to take you to the lesser-known cemetery, which is at Chung Kai.
Chung
My
Kai,
personal
okay.
favourite.
Your personal favorite?
Personal favourite.
All right.
Nice sense of history there. It's the
Okay.
site of the original Japanese prisoner of war camp.
Nice. Let's go then.
Okay.
After you, Mick.
Thanks a lot.
Mr. Mick Newbat has volunteered to bring me to the Chongai Allied Cemetery. This area used to be a large detention camp for prisoners of war and laborers, the largest in Thailand according to some.
Wow. I mean, I don't want to be condemned for the wrong choice of word, but it is beautiful.
Yeah, very beautiful.
So
this
the
one,
significance of the Chongai Cemetery is?
Chung Kai, where you are now, is
Yeah.
basically the original cemetery. These people that you see at rest here were casualties on site at the camp.
On site of the camp.
And they were buried here.
Wow.
Little bits still remain. The 2 tamarind trees in the distance are original to the camp. And
the 2 tamarind trees
Yeah.
at the end over there.
at the end over
Okay.
there. We've had survivors that have visited here and they actually remember leaning on those trees having a cigarette
Wow.
after burying their comrades.
Wow, that's really significant.
Yeah.
All right, well, Mick, I think you're a busy man. You got a lot of things to do today.
Yeah, busy day today.
And I don't know, I just want to thank you for everything.
Absolutely welcome, my pleasure.
It's been educational as well as enlightening, and I think I'm going to take away everything you've told me today and just the general atmosphere of this place with me. And you know what's funny is, like, I've heard of this place for so many years, but I've never been. And now that I've been here and you've told me so much about the background and the history, it actually means that much more. So thank you
Excellent.
so much, Mick.
Absolutely, my pleasure. If you ever come back, just give me a shout, okay?
I will. I think I'll be coming back here because I have a lot of friends who live abroad. They're going to come, then I can actually show them and tell them about, this place in great depth. So
Free VIP tour is yours.
big hug. Oh,
Okay.
thank you. Awesome.
Okay, you
big
take
hug.
care. Good to see you.
Awesome.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Stay in
Mick.
touch.
Yes,
Okay.
sir, I will.
All right.
Don't forget to give me your business card.
Won't do.
Yeah.
Chugdi.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
My journey still continues with the goal of revealing what this railway will lead to.
So one of the absolute essentials when you come to Kanchanaburi is to enjoy the calmness of nature. Where? Right by the River Kwai. Right now I'm standing on the greater River Kwai, okay? And what to do it on? A rafting house. Have no idea what it looks like? Let's go check it out. To make your morning complete, you need to experience the old ways of the locals. And there's nothing like strolling down the old neighborhood of Bak Prak Street. You feel like you're walking into history itself.
Back in 1831, King Rama III decreed that Kanchanaburi city be moved to this current location. From then on, the residents began developing their new community. Most of the people's means of livelihood were dependent on three main rivers, namely the Khwer Yai, the Khwer Noi, and the Meklong. Their transportation, commerce, and occupations all depended on these rivers. As a result, Bak Prak Riverfront Community was born, and since then, it has been growing steadily.
ให้ทายกันอัตโนมัติเลยเหรอจริงแบบขอบคุณมากนะครับ ถ้าว่าเราซื้อตั๋วนี่กติกาเป็นยังไงบ้างครับถ้าเป็นคนไทย
ถ้าเป็นคนไทยเนี่ยก็แสดงบัตรประชาชนแล้วก็รับ
โอเค
ตั๋วฟรีขึ้น
โอ
รถ
เค
ครับ
สุดยอด
เป็นชาวต่างชาติเนี่ยก็คนละ100 บาท
ก็คนละ100 บาท โอเค ได้ครับ ง่ายๆเนาะ
ง่าย
มาก
ๆไม่ยุ่ง
So
ยาก
I just asked I asked about the price of the ticket to take the train, and if you're Thai, you just got to show your ID card, and you get a ticket for free. But if you're a foreigner, the fee is only 100 baht, which is about roughly $3 US. So it's not that expensive to take that trip.
ขอบคุณมากนะครับ
ครับ
ครับผมสวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
Miss Lamyai must be trying to tell me something. I am elated that my trip is going to continue, although in an unexpected manner. Having hurriedly hopped onto the train to Waterfall Station, I have totally forgotten about lunch. No problem. I can find something to eat on the way. Although this section of the railway line is renowned for its captivating view of the cliff on one side, the river on the other, the dense forest and the waterfall, the phrase, "one sleeper for one life," will always refer to the countless lives of prisoners of war and laborers forced to build this railway line. This trip has given me a feeling of traveling by a time machine back to 70 years ago. Somehow, I feel as if it had happened only yesterday. Miss Lamyai gave me a brief piece of information saying that that place would show me what I was looking for.
Okay, so now we've arrived at Tamgasa. Tamgasa is one of the most historical landmarks during the construction of the Death Railway. The reason being that a lot of POWs, they lost their lives during the construction through wild diseases, wild animals and such. And also, this is probably one of the most difficult sections to build on the railway because it is right on the ledge of a shear drop. So if you miss a step, that's it, you're done. โชคดีครับโชคดีครับขอบคุณมากนะครับขอบคุณมากบ๊ายบายเจอกันเจอกัน
This station is named Waterfall Station because of the nearby long famous Sayok Noi or Kaopang Waterfall.
It's a little slippery, whoa. So in case you're wondering where I am, this is actually the last stop on the railway line. It's called Namtok, which means waterfall. We're at a place called Namtok Sayok, which is the Sayok Waterfall, one of the most famous spots in Kanchanaburi, okay? So obviously the name's pretty self-explanatory. It's a waterfall, there's a nice stream coming down from the top. Families love to bring their kids here because obviously kids love water. Speaking of which, there is a place where there's apparently temple in the water. Wait, which reminds me, hold on. There it is. The kind lady I was speaking to earlier, she gave us directions. The lady from Pak Prak, the place where we're at, the old district, she gave us directions to a place called Sankraburi. What's going on over there? There's a temple in the water. We gotta go check it out now. We got no choice. There are usually shuttle buses that take you from the waterfall station to Sankraburi, but at this time of day, I'm not so sure. And plus, it's raining right now, so I'm gonna try my luck with hitchhiking and see what happens.
Using Google Map, I found out that Sankraburi is only a little over 300 kilometers from Kanchanaburi city, probably a few hours by car.
Now, I just gotta tell you something. Hitchhiking is not a common thing in Thailand, and that's because Thai people still like to keep a distance between themselves and strangers. Which is understandable.
Not long after I sat in the van, I realized I had made a terribly wrong decision. Not only was the road to Sankraburi very narrow, but it also winds along steep mountainside. During the rainy season like this, The wet surface seems to have turned the road into a slider. If you are a beginner driver, driving on this road could be your last trip. You'd better let the expert do this job.
So once you get into the district of Thong Pa Phum, okay, everything, the surroundings, the environment, it all turns tropical. You see nothing but luscious greenery that extends to the edge of the earth. It is absolutely amazing, and I'm loving this. It is drizzling with rain right now. I feel good, and I'm speechless. I hope you can feel what I'm feeling right now too, because this is an absolute amazing feeling. Wow.
Finally, I am here at Sangkhlaburi, the destination of the Road to. This is a small town that is quite a distance from other districts, quite isolated indeed. Sangkhlaburi remains set amidst serene nature no matter how many years have passed. It is very moist and humid, but because there is no heavy rain, I don't have to be under an umbrella all the time. Such a serenely refreshing atmosphere can never be experienced in the capital. I must confess that after a couple of hours of my arrival, I have already been spellbound by Sangkhlaburi. Quiet and peaceful, without noisy pubs or bars, this town, with its natural blessings of watercourses, misty lakes, dense forests, and high mountains, is perfect for a simple, nature-oriented lifestyle.
Wait, I've completely forgotten why I'm here. I've completely forgotten why I came to Sangkhlaburi. You know what's weird about this city? It's like it's a twilight zone. The time kind of slows down in a way that it feels like the city never wants you to leave. It's so much slower than it usually feels. You know what? It doesn't matter. She gave me a clue to crack the mystery of Sangkhlaburi. If I can find it. Oh, here it is. This is the clue to cracking the mystery of Sangkhlaburi. Onwards and upwards. It actually extends over 800 meters. Where does it lead? Let's go and take a look.
Miss Lam Yai recommended me to visit the Mon Bridge, the biggest wooden bridge in Thailand. This bridge is the vantage point from which to enjoy the view of the town.
Danger, do not enter. This is a typo, okay? Danger, do not enter construction area. It seems like the bridge is broken ahead. Oh, well. I don't know. What are we going to do? สวัสดีครับ สวัสดีครับ สวัสดีครับ
ผมเด็กชายมืดนะ
ค
ค
รั
รับ บเป็นมักคุเทศก์น้อยถ้า
ฮะ
อยากจะรู้อะไรถามได้ครับ
อ๋อง่ายๆเลยครับ คือถ้าหากว่าสะพานมันหักข้างหน้าแล้วเนี่ยเราจะทำยังไงเพื่อที่จะข้ามไปอีกฝั่งหนึงฮะ
ต้องใช้ด้านล่างครับจะเป็นสะพานลูกบวชสะพานชั่วคราวนะค
But
รั
the young guy's information is probably very useful. He said in mid 2013, Sangkhlaburi residents were saddened by the destruction of the bridge connecting the Thai and Mon communities as a result of a flash flood and huge logs tumbling down from the mountain. That disaster revealed a number of truths to Thai people. Amongst them was human selfishness, which led to vast deforestation. In times of heavy rain, massive amounts of water it brought were powerful enough to sweep every man-made structure away. At the same time, when the news of the destruction of the bridge became known to the public, a lot of people were willing to provide assistance. More importantly, after the bridge was destroyed, both the Thais and Mons of Sangkhlaburi joined hands to build a makeshift pontoon bridge so that they would be able to cross the river to see each other again. That was proof of the unity of the locals who wanted to protect their treasured identity.
Yeah. My God, I've completely lost track of time. I've completely forgotten the purpose of our trip here. มันมีโบสถ์กลางน้ำอ่ะหรือว่ากลางน้ำ
กลางน้ำ
เออ
อำเภอสังขะเก่า
เราไปกันยังไง
เราต้องนั่งเรือไปครับ
นั่งเรือไปใช่ป่ะ งั้นมืดพาเราไปได้ไหม
ไป
ไป Okay, we're gonna take the boat to the temple in the water. This is very exciting. ไปเลยครับเชิญเลยครับไปเลยไปเลยไป
Searching for the old Japanese railway line. He told me that most of the line was already underwater or had disintegrated. He said a section of it used to not be far from the old Wangwiwe Karam temple. Yes, it is this old temple that has been left underwater for over 20 years. The present Sangkhlaburi town was in fact built whilst Wachidaronggon Dam was being constructed. When the dam came into use, the old Sangkhlaburi area became inundated, so its residents were moved to this new location. It was then that a wooden bridge was built to join the newly settled Thais with the Mons, who lived on the other side of the river, and to tighten the relationship between them.
ตรงนี้ก็ตอนวันเข้าพรรษาหลวงพ่อตมะก็จะมาจำพรรษาอยู่ตรงนี้หลวงพ่อตมะเป็นเชื้อสายของมอญแท้นะครับ
แล้วอย่างนี้รางรถไฟผมก็ไม่มีโอกาสเห็นแล้วดิ มันอยู่ใต้น้ำหมดอ่ะ
ทำไมถึงต้องเสียดายคือเขาจะเอาทางรถไฟเก่าเนี่ยไปสร้างเป็นกุฏิหลวงพ่อนะครับตรงนี้ก็จะเป็นโบสถ์เก่านะครับ
Oh, and I almost forgot to share this with you. Eric Lomax, the author of The Railway Man, was one of the death railway survivors. He returned to live in England and tried to forget all the gruesome tortures inflicted on him by the Japanese. Eric returned to Thailand and came to Kanchanaburi, but not to relive the past. He came with the intention to take the life of Nagase Takashi, a former Japanese soldier who had tortured him during the war. Eric knew that this Japanese ex-soldier was still alive and working as a curator for the World War II Museum. It was ironic then that Takashi did not recognize his former prisoner at all. Eric's plan was to strangle Takashi, his former tormentor, with his own hands in return for what Takashi had inflicted on him during the war.
May I touch your hand?
Oh, yes.
No, I mean, when you are tortured, being tortured, I measured your pulse,
Yes,
and
yes.
your heartbeat is very smooth. So
Yes.
I am very
Well,
much
you
relaxed.
see, these are where the broken bones are.
Yes, I remember.
Yes.
Very sorry. Very sorry for you.
Well, we both survived.
As a member of the Japanese army, we treated your countrymen very, very badly and against the humanity.
Yes.
I realized that.
Yes.
So when I repatriated from here to country, and I got various sufferings in my heart and mind. But I tried. And whenever I think of you, why you were born in this world? What purpose?
Yes.
For what purpose
It's
you were born?
a difficult question to answer.
I'm very, very sorry.
Well, thank you very much.
I think I can die safely.
The guilt that two people bore towards one another actually created a new kind of bond, a new kind of humanity. The ex-prisoner of war, Eric, who wanted to murder Nagase, the ex-Japanese soldier, they both actually became friends, and they created a new kind of friendship that would last through time.
Together, they did the unexpected, and that is to become good friends, a friendship that even the atrocity of war cannot destroy. Up till now, Japanese people still bear a sense of guilt about what their ancestors did during World War II. The death railway serves as a memorial of the brutality of the war.
บนสีทองนะครับผม
อ่าฮะ
นี่ก็จะเป็นวัดบ้านเก่าข้างบนนะครับมันเป็นวัดของชาวกะเหรี่ยงนะครับ
So I took the train from Nakhon Pathom to Kanchanaburi, right? And then I visited the cemetery war grave. Then I took the train on the death railway all the way out to Sankaburi to find one of life's treasures. What can I say? It's been an amazing journey. And whatever inspires me to go to next, I want you to join me on one of my miraculous journeys where you can expect a hell of an experience. With me, David Asavinan, on The Road To.